We're back.
Hello, everybody. We're back. Welcome to another episode of the Blue Jay Way podcast. Chris May, Jack Ryan with you as always.
Yes, sir.
Jack,
Yeah,
we
buddy.
uh, we had a historic series or a potentially historic series start last Friday with the Jays hosting Tampa Bay.
Yep.
The Rays, yeah, I mean, came in without a loss, 13
hmm
and 0. Coming in on Friday. It was a little, it was impressive, I'd say, what they did up to that point. But, there were a lot of jokes going around saying, they haven't really played a real team yet, even though
Yeah.
they did have a four-game series with the Boston Red Sox right before that. I would
hmm
say Boston is a team.
They're
They're
a team.
probably the best team they faced up to that point. But
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tampa was absolutely rolling coming into Toronto. The Jays were doing okay. They'd won a couple series, just took two out of three from the Tigers.
hmm
Um, so game one sent Jose Barrios to the mound with a lot of question marks. Um,
Had me watching through my hands for the first little bit
exactly.
there, not gonna lie.
I don't think you were alone in that. But he pitched well.
He did. He
He
pitched
pitched
very
well, and the
well.
Blue Jays, we'll just say it now, they won 6-3. They snapped that streak, and it was a pretty good win, pretty impressive win. But
Yep.
Barrios, 5 innings, six strikeouts, had a really interesting at bat there with Randy Arozarena in the first inning, which I liked because
Yeah.
Randy, was kind of showing him up a bit,
Yep.
not swinging at a couple of breaking balls, not even really moving at all. And you could kind of see Jose get a little upset and get a little, ticked off, kind of stand on the mound with some authority. And he threw a couple
Yeah.
fastballs and he got him and he kind of was nodding his head. It was interesting. So let's start with Jose, Jack. Any thoughts? Because I know you had a couple after his last start there.
Yeah, I kind of blew up at him. But in my opinion, rightfully so. You're a big league ball player. You're getting paid the big bucks to perform on a team that has hopes of winning a World Series. And if you can't do it, then tough shit, figure it the fuck out. And he did. He didn't throw a single didn't have a single walk against the Rays in that start. So 6 Ks. He did get a comebacker off his knee, which forced him to come out of the game, for precautionary reasons, still early on in the season, which I had no issue with. He had already gone 5 innings. Um, but if that didn't happen, I would have liked to have seen, could he have gone for six or even seven? Because I believe his pitch count was somewhere in the high 60s or early 70s. So, I liked what I saw from Jose Barrios. I thought he was exactly what he needed to be and exactly what his contract dictates he should be day in and day out. All things considered, like you said, though, I believe Rosarena, kind of showing him up in the batter's box. Like, I'm pretty sure what that first breaking ball, he was up straight. He didn't do
Yeah, I
anything.
heard a lot
Didn't,
of people saying he was statuing, or he was
yeah,
like he
yeah.
just
It's,
statued a couple of breaking balls.
hey, man, fair play to Randy Rosarena. He was the most electric guy to watch in the WBC, full of himself. But again, in a league where it's a battle of the best, you got to be a little bit cocky. You got to have that confidence, and
Yeah.
he has it. There's no doubt about
Oh
it.
yeah.
But like you mentioned, Jose Barrios kind of got a little edgy there, got a little aggravated. Maybe that's what he needs to succeed. He needs to not be a chilled out guy on the mound. Maybe let his emotions kind of like turn his anger into fuel to be competitive. And if that's what happened in the last start, do it. I have no problem
Yeah.
with that whatsoever. If you can go out and throw five innings, not walk a single batter and strike out six guys, or hell, go out even longer if he didn't get hit in the knee, I'm all for it. And he was a pleasure to watch in his last start. And I'm sincerely hoping that tonight he goes out and does the same against the Astros. We are filming this on April 19th for everyone listening and watching at home. So yeah, I if that is what turns the page on the questionable Jose Barrios, I'm all for it. If he can turn out solid outings for the rest of the year, I have no issues with it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'd say an outing like that is exactly what you're looking for from Barrios, your fourth starter in the rotation. He doesn't have to be, going through 8 no-hit innings every
No.
game. Just give the team a chance to win. He absolutely did that that night. Um, the knee thing is interesting because you wonder if after that happened, if the implosion might have happened if he stayed in the game, because it seems like,
Yeah.
early in this season, there was, moments where he'd be looking good, and then things would happen and he would kind of unravel, and that's kind
Hmm.
of been his thing, even since last season, is
Yeah. Also,
the kind of minimizing damage.
yeah.
But you don't really want to speculate on that. Let's focus on the positive, unless you have something to say about that.
You also, well, I think we also need to examine the fact that Danny Jansen caught Barrios this start,
Yeah,
and it wasn't Alejandro Kirk.
yeah,
So, and he was throwing a lot more four seam fastballs and a lot more sinkers, or
hmm
two seam fastballs. So, they're pretty interchangeable, but
hmm
he was throwing a lot more fastballs, and it worked for him. He wasn't
yeah,
throwing the slurve as much on the first, because usually with at least the first two starts or three starts I saw from him this year and
hmm
last year as well, he was throwing a lot of 0-0 slurves that were not hitting. And then you give the hitter a hitter's count at 1-0. They're going to
yeah,
be looking for the fastball when you're trying to get back in the count. And then they're
hmm
going to hit it. But if you're sitting there throwing a four seamer to start the at bat or a two seamer or sinker, that puts the hitter on his heels going, oh shit, I really gotta go. If he's, especially when he's touching up 95, he hit 96, I believe, one or two times in that game as well.
yeah. He had a
So
really good changeup too, working off that too. The
yes,
lefty
yes,
just falling off,
yep.
getting swings and misses. So yeah, I mean, hopefully he can just
every
find some
every
consistency.
secondary pitch is built off of the four seam fastball. The
Yeah,
fastball is obviously going to be your best, like not maybe not your most effective pitch, but it's going to be the pitch that never fails. It's the pitch that guys have to prove they can hit. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
it's the oldest, most used pitch in the sport. Everything built off of that. So if you can establish the four seam fastball to get ahead 0-1 in the count, you can build off throwing that 82-mile-an-hour changeup, which, by the way, was filthy for him in that start. Like you said, it was gross. He was getting guys out, no problem. So if Jose Barrios can go out tonight with Jansen, I believe is catching him again tonight against the
hmm
Stros, and he can establish that four seam fastball, we could see another stellar outing from him tonight.
yeah. No, absolutely. I'm expecting it. Honestly, at this point, we need it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so pretty impressive stuff there. Jays win 6-3. A couple of other notes there. George Springer goes deep. It's an absolute laser off Drew Rasmussen. First at bat of the game.
Yeah.
His 50, was it 54th?
53rd
53rd career leadoff home run. That's pretty impressive, man.
ties him for
Um,
Craig Biggio, third all
yeah,
time and leadoff home runs.
third all times. So a little history there. And then Bo Bichette, 5 hit night. This guy,
Standing out there at second
absolutely
base,
dialed
just
in right now. That's all you can say. His 500th career hit,
mhm,
fastest Blue Jay to start their career, getting 500 hits.
mhm.
Um,
I think he beat
that's
Vernon Wells by like 35 games too,
He
which is
did. He did. I
nuts.
think Paul Molitor had more, um, but it wasn't like in terms of like starting their career.
Hmm.
I think Paul Molitor had more after he came over. Um, but
Yeah, he's
eh,
like the youngest like homegrown Blue Jay to do it,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah, exactly. To
yeah.
like kind of start their career
Hmm.
um, with the Jays. So yeah, that's a heck of a win, Jack. Anything you
Yeah.
want to say on the offensive side?
Uh, Not a whole lot, to be honest. Springer's home
Yeah,
run, we covered
I
it.
mean,
Kiermaier kind of had a chip on his shoulder against the team that let him go. He went 2 for 4, which was
mhm.
nice. And you could tell he was fired up. I remember Schulman in the broadcast said he hasn't sat still the entire day. And
Yeah, he had some funny moments with
yeah.
with some of the Rays players too.
Hmm.
I remember he's like laughing with McClanahan on Sunday after something happened. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah,
that series was fun for him.
he looked like he was fired up, and rightfully so. If you go 2 for 4 against your former team, you kind of have something to prove, to say, hey guys, you let me go and I'm still here.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, all in all, unfortunately, Matt Chapman wasn't in the lineup though. He had a stomach bug. We saw him on the bench. He seemed to be a bit under the weather, obviously. That's been going around the team for the past couple weeks. But he did come back the next day and he continued to do Matt Chapman things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it was a good win to snap that streak, to get the series off to a good start.
Hmm.
And then on Sunday or
Yep.
Saturday, pardon me.
Mhm.
The story of this game for me is one man, the fifth starter in the rotation. On a Saturday, Yusei Kikuchi had that thing dancing, Jack.
Mhm.
He was absolutely incredible in this one. The Blue Jays, they win game two, 5-2. They hand the Rays their first series loss of the season,
Yep.
back-to-back losses, for the first time, obviously, this season. Um, and the Rays, for me, in this series a bit too, were making some mistakes that they normally don't make. I saw some little defensive things, especially in that first game. Actually, they had a big error, which you don't
Mhm.
normally see from them. So the Rays were off their game a bit in these first couple. But you can't really take anything away from Yusei Kikuchi. 9 strikeouts, 6 innings, just one earned. Jack,
Mhm.
just, he's been a revelation. He looks completely different, doesn't he?
Hashtag you say cares, man. The guy gives a damn. I don't think he ever didn't give a damn. I mean, they
Yeah,
talked about how last year when he would have a bad outing or he would struggle, he would go up to every single member of his team and apologize for his performance. Which, that's a classy guy right there. He really means that he cares about the outcome of the game and how he affects it or not. But as far as it goes, that was I'd argue his best pitching performance so far as a Blue Jay, if I'm honest, that I've seen,
yeah.
because
I
last year we didn't have a lot to
can't
go
think of a
on.
better one.
Yeah, and against a team like
Even
that
the
who's
team, yeah,
coming in 13-1,
yeah.
yeah, right. So
Good lineup, man.
yeah, and then also on the pitching, like Jordan Romano, man, he's picks up his what I believe it was his fifth save of the year later on that night. He struck out
Taking one
two.
right off the ribs.
Oh, dude, that look, I was worried. I thought it caught him in the sternum or in the chest, but luckily it got him in the gut, just knocked the wind out of him. So
Yeah, man, that looked. Oh, I mean, that was a that was quite the play.
I
That
was
that was
worried.
a that
Yeah.
was a gutsy play.
It was very good. And Jays came away with a victory. Chapman came back, had a 1 for 3 day. Alejandro Kirk went 2 for 2 with a ribby. Danny Jansen went 2 for 3. So we saw some signs that he's starting to maybe heat up a bit, you know.
Yeah,
One walk, one RBI. Springer went 0 for 1, but had 2 walks. So, guys like that, veteran guys who you may not get a hit every day, but if you can get on base for the guys behind you, that's a huge addition to any lineup. So Springer taking 2 walks, I'm not worried about. He got an RBI as well. Um, and just to touch back a little bit on game one and from what we've seen so far this year, I actually I tweeted this a couple like last night or the day before, and after the first game of the Houston series, so it was 2 nights ago. Zach Pop has been untouchable, untouchable
that
this
sinker is
year,
really, really, really good.
and the slider too. It's
Yeah,
coming in at 87. His sinker's got, I believe, it averages between 18 and 22 inches of break from left to right, and then
yeah,
his slider is between 15 and 18. And there's a 10-mile-an-hour difference. The guy throws 2 pitches. He's like Jordan Romano. He throws 2 pitches with such a disparity in velocity and movement that's all you need. You don't need he doesn't need a changeup. He doesn't need a curveball. His arm action, the way he delivers the baseball, dude. Zach Pop has been, I'd argue, the most effective reliever out of the bullpen.
yeah. He hasn't
Like
really gotten hit hard.
no,
He hasn't
no,
really given much up. Yeah, no, I
he's
agree.
in his last 7 games, he's got a 1.42 ERA, 10 strikeouts, just 2 walks, and a 0.63 WHIP.
Yeah,
Those are delivery man of the year numbers this early in the season.
yeah,
Like
that's exactly what they've needed. Yeah, I
and
know.
I want to see him in a more high leverage role. I don't want to see this guy. There's Anthony Bass. He's struggled. He's got a seven plus ERA. His FIP is over 5.5, which is,
Yeah,
I like Anthony Bass. I really want him to succeed, but right now I think Schneider needs to make the adjustment and say, okay, our 7 and 8 inning guys right now are Zach Pop and Jimmy Garcia, and then Romano's the closer. And then from there you have Simber, Meza, Trevor Richards, or Bass.
I would put Swanson in that group too with
And
Garcia
Swanson,
and Pop.
yeah. It depends on who needs an off day. Sorry, I forgot about Eric
No,
Swanson.
for
But
sure.
yeah.
No, I do completely agree that Zach Pop has looked really good, and he's probably earned some higher leverage opportunities.
Hmm.
Because yeah, he hasn't given anything up really. Um, and yeah, just to touch on Kikuchi too, I just man like same kind of thing as Barrios, just the presence on the mound. You can see he's feeling himself a little bit. He's
Hmm.
feeling confident. He's got the little fist pump after a strikeout, the little strut off the mound. I mean,
Yeah,
I just think
he's
that confidence is a crazy thing, man. It can really do things that really you can't even describe. It's just you're
yeah.
feeling good. I mean, that fastball is so huge for him. You get a lefty throwing, averaging like 95 on the fastball. You
Hmm.
don't see that very often, and
He's got
opposing hitters don't
the
see that
third
very often.
fastest fastball of any lefty.
Average, yeah, yeah. Average velocity on the fastball is the third highest for lefties. I
Hmm.
think just behind Lizardo and
And McClanahan,
McClanahan, and we'll
who
get to
was,
him. He's
yeah.
pretty nasty, as we saw on Sunday. But yeah, I just think that fastball means so much to him, and just a great slider was working
Oh,
off of it all day, just down and into the righties, um,
very
down
Robbie
and
Ray
into
esque in
the lefties. Yeah,
2021.
yeah, exactly.
You
That's the
know.
formula for Kikuchi is very similar to Robbie Ray,
Hmm.
that we saw back in 2021.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, I just to have those contributions from a fifth starter is huge, especially when we'll get to it. Some of the guys at the front of the rotation here are struggling a bit. To
Yeah.
have that guy be a stabilizer is just incredible. Um,
Yep.
and yeah, gotta really applaud you say for the work that he's put in, and the fans are really coming around to him. He's starting to become a fan favorite, and I'm happy for him
Yeah.
because with the work that he's must have put in, it must feel great. And yeah, it's great to see. Um,
Hmm.
so let's jump to the bad in this series. The Jays take the first two, get all that winning streak stuff out of the way. All the are the
Yep.
Rays going to go 162-0? Get all that out of the way. Win the first two, and then Alek Manoah takes the mound in Game 3, the opening day starter, the home
Yep.
opener starter, the ace people were saying coming into the season.
Which is
Bases
fair
loaded.
enough.
Yeah, and I was watching the beginning of this game. He loads the base. So actually, we'll start with the first pitch of the game, which actually this actually made me laugh out loud. He's out there, he's fired up. He's doing his thing where he goes behind the mound. He does a couple hops to the
It is
mound. The
the
crowd's fired up. Pitch
yeah.
clock's coming down. He's got to throw the pitch. Bonk
Yeah.
hits Yandy Diaz right in the shoulder. I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
And
Uh,
he didn't look very happy that he got plunked.
yeah, and I heard on Blair and Barker they were speculating that he did it on purpose. That Manoah hit him on purpose
What?
just to kind of get the blood flow to get fired up, just to kind of get into
Uh,
it. I don't know
yeah.
about that. I mean, he's been known to hit guys
Yeah, he
with that
pitches
sinker.
inside, obviously,
Yeah,
but
we've seen that a million times from him, but it was just kind of interesting how it happened on the first pitch after he was. I don't know. I literally laughed out loud. I was like, okay, like you get all
yeah.
fired up where the crowd's getting you going, ready to go, and then you just plunk the guy. Um, but that was just the beginning of a very tough outing. He loads the bases with nobody out in the first. Um, One run comes in to score, and then Josh Lowe hits a little floater out into the outfield.
No man's land.
After the first, it's top of the first, 3-0. Jays came back, made it 3-1 off of McClanahan in the bottom of the first. But
RBI
from here,
single from
let's
Vladdy, yeah.
separate the two actually, because we'll talk a bit about McClanahan, um, but we'll recap Manoah's total line after the first. The
Yeah.
Jays end up losing the game 8-1. Manoah, 4 2/3, 9 hits, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 7 earned. Um, it was probably his worst start as a Blue Jay.
I'd say
Um,
so, yeah.
and
I'd
it's
argue
kind
that.
of continued a trend of worrying starts for him where he just kind of looks off mechanically. He looks like he's struggling to find the zone. The 4 walks are not
That's not
what
like
you
him.
need. No, it's not like him, and it's not what you need. He looks like he's awkward on the mound almost, where he's, you know, fixing the dirt a lot. He's stumbling off the
But that's
mound.
also nothing new, really.
I
Like
know it's
he's done that
nothing
his whole
new,
career, right?
but I've seen a lot of people saying, is it the pitch clock? Does he not have enough time to kind of set himself between pitches? Is his tempo out of whack? Jack, do you have an answer? Do you have a theory as to what's going on? Because it's just not like him.
Yeah, the thing is that all it is until he gives an answer as to what it is, or Pete Walker comes out and talks about it, is it's speculation from multiple angles. I've heard anywhere from pitch clocks forcing him to not fully commit to his pitches because he's trying to just worry about getting the pitch out before the clock runs down instead of actually trying to locate. Um, or some people have speculated, and this I heard on Blair and Barker as well. Kevin Barker said that he is his follow through is actually farther out than it was his last two seasons.
Mm,
So he's throwing the ball at a different like angle, but also like his arms at like full extension. Maybe that's what's causing him to lose his command and why he's walking so many guys. I've heard anything from he's falling off the mound the wrong way. Like we really don't know. Like from what I've seen, it's just it could be to me. It's probably an accumulation of all three. His mechanics are off. The pitch clock is maybe messing him up a bit, and it's a shame. It really is, but I don't want to see him give up, which I know he won't. He doesn't have that in his DNA to give up that easily. Um, he's going to bounce back. He's going to work with Pete Walker. I think he's going to go and do what he needs to do. And I think that his next start is what is it, against the Yankees next week. I believe it's against the Yankees in New York. So who knows? We could see a vintage performance from him because he goes to New York in his first major league start in New York in his rookie season and absolutely
yeah,
fans everybody. So
yeah.
we could very well see a vintage Manoah performance, but again, there's a lot of time left in the season. It's a
Hmm.
it's a long hill to climb, but I think he can do it.
Yeah. I just wanted to add one thing that I've noticed with him too is just
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed a lot of just kind of uncompetitive sliders from him.
Yeah,
And that's such a big pitch for him.
I'd argue it's
Um,
his biggest,
yeah,
realistically.
and I've just noticed that the slider this season has not gotten the result that he wants from it to
Yeah,
really, um, whiff guys to strike guys out. I don't know if it's because he's not locating his fastball, but guys aren't swinging at the slider this
no,
season like they
they're
have
not.
in the past few. So I think he's got to try to combine the fastball with the slider and kind of focus on the location of those two pitches and a way that they can work together.
Yeah,
Because when he has that mix going with the two seamer, like kind of inside to lefties, and then he can break the slider down and in off of that.
yeah,
It's a really devastating combo, but I've just noticed that not a lot of guys that he's facing are chasing that slider. And it must
yeah,
be probably because the sinker isn't being located. Um,
yeah.
yeah, you see a lot of like up and away misses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he did
He's
he did
touching 95 too,
yeah,
which is cool,
and he
but
did battle in that start. Like he did after the first inning. He did
mhm.
battle. He did have a couple of solid innings. And then Christian Bethencourt kind of ended the day.
Yeah,
A
three run
three-run home
bomb.
run on just a kind of mistake pitch.
Was that the
Uh,
slider down just didn't
I
break?
think it was the slider, just a hanging
Yeah,
slider, just in the middle of the plate. Um, but I also, want to believe that he's going to be okay.
yeah,
He's got a good enough track record over the last couple of years to earn some more time to figure this out before anyone panics. But it is worrying. But yeah, like you were saying, the good thing is every 5 days you get another chance, and
hmm,
yeah, what better place to go out and perform than the place you made your debut and the place you've had a lot of success in Yankee Stadium.
agreed.
Um, let's flip over to the other side of
Hmm.
the pitching matchup. Shane McClanahan, man, this guy. I'm impressed by this guy every time I see him pitch.
Yeah,
A lefty who throws so hard and can just control um, every part of the zone. It's pretty impressive. He had a bit of a shaky first. The Jays loaded the bases, but they couldn't take advantage really, and that's kind of when you have to get a guy like that. Is if you load the bases in the first with less than 2 outs, you better be pushing 2 or 3 runs across because you don't know if you're going to get another chance like that again in the game. And the Jays really
Yeah,
didn't. So McClanahan goes 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, um,
just
just
two
one earned.
walks.
Yeah, just one earned on 4 hits. He's quite the pitcher. The Rays pitching's really good. I don't think we saw the best of it this
No,
past weekend, but
no.
that's really the strength of their team. And the Jays, I think in the homestand, the hitting with runners in scoring position was an issue. They left a lot of opportunities out there on the bases. It
Yep.
is early in the season, and not everyone is clicking. Um,
No.
and Jack, I know that you wanted to touch on a couple of guys in the lineup that
Yes.
were not that are not producing.
No, no, they're
Right
not. And the problem is this. Your bottom of your order is just as important as every other aspect of your batting order. If guys can't get on base and roll over the lineup for the top of the order, guys like Springer, Bichette, Vladdy, etc. The two guys I want to focus on are Brandon Belt and Kevin Biggio. And I heard this on Blair and Barker, and I 100% agree with Kevin Barker. He said, let's be honest, Kevin Biggio is just happy with the fact that he's a big league ball player. I 100% agree with that. And my theory is that in 2019, Kevin Biggio was great. 280 batting average. He hit for the cycle. He's only one of two father-son duos, him and his father Craig, and then there's another father-son duo who hit for the cycle, which that's an amazing stat in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
He was the Jays New Hampshire AA MVP in 2017 or something, him, Bo, and Vladdy when they're on that insane New Hampshire Fisher Cats team, right? So Kevin Biggio has had success at multiple levels in baseball. Here's my issue. I think what happened was he thought he was going to be the second baseman forever and ever, and him and Vladdy and Bo were going to go play in the meadow and we'll do whatever the hell they were doing because it's the three amigos. It's us three, man. Q, Santiago Espinal walks in with Gold Glove caliber defense, and oh wait, this guy can actually swing the bat too. He can hit. He was a freaking all-star last year. And fair point, Kevin had a few injuries here and there. But you not wanting to work, or it seems like not wanting to work and be like, no, you know what? This year, I'm going to be the second baseman, and Merrifield and Espinal can kick rocks and ride the pine for the year. I'm the second baseman of this ball team. Instead, he's just going up there with his stupid little waggle, and he's looking at 8 pitches only to strike out.
Yeah, and it's like why do you have this massive uppercut swing? That's a home run. Like you're not a home run hitter. You've never been
No.
like, why do you have this huge uppercut? I'm gonna hit the ball I'm trying to swing and hit the ball 9 miles out to right field. Like,
Yeah, I know.
I just don't think that suits his style of hitting at all. It's just, his swing doesn't really suit what he does.
No, he's not a big guy. He's like 5'11", like maybe 190 pounds. Like, fair enough. When you connect with one that's down in the zone, you're gonna hit it. But dude, the scouting reports, like the jury's out. The scouting report's been there. They just pitch you up, and then every single time he comes in, he's doing this, and the ball's just going up. Or he's swinging underneath it, and it's a strikeout. So I'm like,
I don't get that uppercut swing from him.
And then people argue like, oh, but his eye at the plate
Prince Fielder, I get it, but from him, I don't.
Yeah, anyway. Ken Griffey Jr., I get it. Right, greatest uppercut, arguably the sweetest swing ever in Ken Griffey Jr. Hall of Famer. Kevin Biggio ain't even close. So people say though, oh, he has a great eye at the plate. I'm like, having a great eye is awesome, but if you're striking out or if you're flying out after looking at 8 pitches, what good is that? If you're not walking, what's the point? Who gives a shit? Right? And then the other guy I want to touch on, I'll get back to Biggio in a few because this has been tormenting me for a while. But Brandon Belt, and I don't want to see him in the lineup for at least a week. He had 3 hits in the home opener against the Detroit Tigers, and he's done F all since. Get it? I get it. He's a veteran. He's a lefty, and he's a good clubhouse guy. And he needs to see American League hitters because he's only ever played in the National League. Fair enough. But when you're going 0 for 8 with a walk, it's the same thing with the like. What's the point? You're killing a whole inning is over because these two guys don't get on base. They barely walk. They don't hit. They just either strike out or fly out, then or ground out. That's to me is what's killing the Jays lineup. They should have won or swept at least 2 of these series at this point. But instead, because of the whole lefty righty matchup thing, lefty righty matchup doesn't matter if they're getting out every single time. It doesn't matter. And John Schneider's had enough sample size now. We're what, 17, 18 games into the season. And these guys are what, like 2 or 3 for their last 52 or 40 something, whatever. They're batting under 200. Whit Merrifield's batting 300. Espinal, say what you want about him, but I'll take his defense just out of principle. His back he can bat ninth. I don't give a shit. That's one guy compared to 2. And if he's going to go out and give you Gold Glove caliber defense, I'm sorry, Belt and Espinal and Biggio, excuse me, are not going to be the guys that I want to see in the lineup. I don't want to see them in the lineup. And quite frankly, I know it's early on in the season, but I wouldn't be surprised that if Biggio struggles, they might just DFA him or they'll put him in a trade with a package for a reliever. And I wouldn't be mad at that whatsoever. Because if you're just happy to be here and you just think that, oh, you don't need to put in any more work or like adjust his swing, why hasn't Guillermo Martinez made any point to say, hey, Kevin, maybe we should, maybe less of this and just, kind of rest the bat on your shoulder kind of thing. That way you get more of a level swing rather than this shit all the freaking time. But I don't know, man. It's disappointing because I was high on Kevin Biggio when he came into the league with the Jays, and it seems that Vladdy and Bo have done the work to actually get to the point of being an all-star MVP caliber player, and Kevin's just fallen by the wayside. And it's a shame to me because I'd argue that his dad was the best of the 3 dads.
Yeah.
3,000 hit club guy who played everywhere is what Kevin is now, but his dad was a Gold Glover at multiple positions.
Yeah.
Kevin really. He's just an average defender. He's a below average baseball player, but he's an average defender.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it.
I mean, I know it's early, but from what I've seen, I think the Jays need another bat.
They do.
I don't think this lineup is. I think it's a playoff lineup.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a World Series winning lineup.
No, but fuck it. Do you want to give Nathan Lucas a couple DH days? He's a lefty. Why not?
Sure.
Right?
If the alternative's Biggio, sure. But I think at the deadline, I think you need a bat to round
need a
out this
bat
thing.
and arguably need a reliever.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you voiced a lot of similar thoughts as to what a lot of the fan base is thinking.
I'm a man of the people, Chris.
Biggio especially has been frustrating for a couple of years now. Belt, again, I know
35 years old.
I know I'm being this guy, but he didn't have much of a spring. But yeah, I'm saying after the Yankee series with that short porch, if he doesn't do something there, what's the point?
Him and Biggio both. If they don't do something.
Yeah. One last thing that I wanted to talk about, Jack, that we didn't talk about prior to this, which I thought
we still got a bit of time, so
which I thought could be funny.
Yeah.
Is did you see Anthony Bass's tweet?
Oh my god. Yeah, the United Airlines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got absolutely roasted for this tweet. And it was basically a picture of his children sitting across from or sitting in a plane. And I think it's his like 2-year-old daughter has a bunch of popcorn underneath her seat, and he's like, United Airlines, are you kidding me? You made my pregnant wife get on her hands and knees and clean up this mess. I don't really have much of an opinion on it. I mean, I don't know what I would do in that situation. Like, you know what I would do? I would probably not be too happy, but you know what I wouldn't do?
tweet
I
about it?
wouldn't tweet it.
Yeah, no. I think you handle that as an internal thing between you and the flight attendants because yeah,
Like,
it's messed up. It's so badly messed up to make a pregnant woman get on her hands and knees, especially 7 months in.
yeah,
Like she's
especially if you're a
showing.
flight attendant and you could just quickly pop down and just, yeah, here's some popcorn. You
Tell
know
me
what?
you guys don't got a dustpan back there? The hell is that?
Yeah, I mean, your kid did make the mess though. Like,
Yeah, but dude,
I know it's tough, but like, I just
I
wouldn't have tweeted that. I just don't
no.
think that's something that should be tweeted.
I've
Like, I
seen
don't
so
know
many.
what he thought would happen.
I don't know. Maybe just trying to. I don't.
You see
I
yesterday too, when the Jays were, or 2 days ago when the Jays were down big to the Astros, Anthony Bass was in the game, and the Houston announcer was like, "Anthony Bass is in the game, trying to clean it up."
yeah, yeah. trying to clean this up.
I mean, when you tweet things like that, you just put such a target on your back. I just don't know why you do it.
Yeah, you
It
really
got a
do.
lot of attention, but
Yeah,
I don't really, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know
You
where
know
I,
what, man? Hey,
I don't have kids.
no,
I don't know where I stand on the.
he did something. It didn't go well. Now he knows. Just don't do it again. You're
Yeah,
fine.
I just thought that was kind of funny from this week. The Jays reliever is making
Yeah,
headlines for, yeah, I don't know,
yeah,
being a bit of a Karen,
yeah.
but
Oh,
it is, yeah, it is.
you know what?
It is a little shitty, but
Yeah, but hey, you know what? It stuff happens. That's all it is. Anyway, we're running out of time, Chris, but big series win, 2 games out of 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays. Jays are playing their final game in Houston tonight, so hopefully go for their fifth straight series win. Yeah, 5.
that is their fifth.
Yeah, fifth straight series win, which would be huge. Find themselves second in the AL East. Folks, if you like this podcast episode, if you like the podcast, if you like us even, give us a like, share, and a subscribe. We love you. And we love the support. It's been awesome. We'll see you guys next time. It'll be recapping the Houston Astros series. Hopefully the Jays come away with 2 out of 3 again. But until that time, for Chris May, I've been Jack Ryan. Take it easy, guys.